the guy that drove for like 5 days straight or whatever from the West Coast to come out here and do this for us, he's not charging us anything. And so to recoup some of his cost, which basically help him live out of his vehicle apparently, he's selling those DVDs, okay? So if anybody jacked the DVDs, which some people apparently don't believe in paying for certain things, we'd appreciate it if you give it back and or pay for it. So you may not have known, so you may just assume that they were free or whatever. Just get back to him sometime and slip him the 20 that you owe him or whatever. And on that note, if you can't afford the DVDs, we're taking the video because we get to own the content. That was the deal. It was like, you can tape stuff and you can try and recoup cost, but the deal is we get to own the content. So we own the content afterwards, and we're putting it online, and you can join torrents and download it all for free. So just a reminder on the AV stuff. Things to give away. Who wants an iTunes music card? People are down with DRM music. There you go. I get all my MP3s and prawn for free. This is kind of cool. It's a bunch of PGP stuff. You get a PGP hat. You get a PGP lanyard. You get a PGP headphones. PGP pen, etc., etc. Going once, going twice. All right. I'm assuming that's rolling now, John? Is that rolling now, I guess? All right, great. So it is my great pleasure to introduce our apparent fan of man love. Negative. A very good friend of ours, and we're very happy to have Sipple here talking about interesting things that you can do that I don't know if anybody in TSA would ever care about that kind of stuff, and or the airlines would ever care about that kind of stuff. He's got lots of good stuff, and he always does, and I appreciate it if you give him a round of applause. Simple Nomad.
Thanks, Peter. I appreciate it, man. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate being here. I appreciate having a good-sized room to speak in front of. I wanted to quickly point out, first off, I just wanted to let you guys know I am releasing a 0-day in this talk, but I want to point out that it's lame. Okay? I mean, seriously, it's lame, and it's something I reported to Microsoft. Microsoft said, you know what, we're not going to patch until a service pack, and I said, you know what, that sounds about right, because there's a very, very easy workaround for it. However, it plays in nicely with some scenarios and whatnot, so I kind of worked it into a whole talk. And last night, unfortunately, while drinking, some individual back there laughing his head off, who works for some large company in Redmond, I believe, said, "I dare you to wear if I bring you a T-shirt, will you wear it during your talk?" And I thought he's full of shit. So somehow I agreed to it while drunk and remembered that part of it. So, but nonetheless, I'm a simple nomad, and I am a hacker, and this is kind of what I do. I've got the jaded and bitter thing up there because I'm kind of an older guy, and probably was broke into my first system before not a lot of you, but a good chunk of you were probably born. Okay, so I've been around doing this kind of stuff for a long time, and so hopefully, as we move forward, you'll understand my whole jaded and bitter part of this. I do have some disclaimers because some of the stuff I'm going to talk about is specifically it's illegal. Okay, So when you see this, I want to give you, there's, not only is it illegal, but we pretty much have a pretty bad reputation, okay? So as you're breaking into systems, please try to do it responsibly for everyone's sake. The agenda today, now this is, I think, almost identical. I did update the slides because obviously you get around geeky people and you start talking, and I got more ideas and stuff. So I have updated the slides slightly from what's on the, is there a CD or they're making the content available? But anyway, I'll have new versions of it available for everyone to get hold of. These slides, everyone will be able to get a hold of. But anyway, I'll kind of go into the background as to, exploring what I found and then how to basically abuse what I found. And then I'll go over some data that I collected while abusing what I found. I'll draw some conclusions, and then I'm going to actually kind of give, and this is kind of the new part of the presentation I added last night and this morning, where I kind of cover maybe some future directions for this, the whole idea of hacking the friendly skies. And oh, good. Just noticed that Jennifer's here. I'm concerned about the talk, so I'm glad she's in the room. There we go. We're in good shape. I don't think I would be arrested. I just think I might end up on the no-fly list, so I may be driving home. She brought it up. She suggested it, that it could happen. So, now, I am talking about wireless. I will tell you that much right now, but I'm not even going to cover Bluetooth. It'll be mentioned a little bit toward the end, bits and pieces, but for the most part, I'm talking strictly just about regular, just wireless. That's what we're going on about here. Basically, how this started. Okay, you're at the airport. People already laugh and they know it's coming. It's just like, okay, weather delays. There's all these things that happen, and then of course, you're sitting there. You got all your toys, and you're playing around. You're firing up various things to look at what's going on in the world around you, and And this is the thing I've noticed. There's really no in-flight hotspot, okay? So why do I see SSIDs called Linksys, D-Link, et cetera, showing up when they're clearly not there? I mean, I don't have T-Mobile, especially if you're at an airport. Let's say you're out there at the terminal. I don't know if Charlotte, anyone from go through the Charlotte airport, do they have wireless in there yet? They didn't like last summer when I was there. See, you go in a place like that and you see all these T-Mobiles, but they're all ad hoc. It's like, what the hell? Why do I have to see all these? And obviously you realize these are probably maybe their laptops. So it's like, can I talk to these devices? And then of course, the inevitable, can I attack these devices? That's the next motive there. So it's like, I couldn't figure out why this was occurring, so I kind of started exploring. And just to give you a little bit of airline background, and as a disclaimer, I did actually used to work for a very large airline. I had nothing to do with the actual planes. It was the computers and whatnot. I think everyone's aware of the 10,000-foot rule on approved electronic devices, or what are they called? PEDs, I think is what I forget what the P stands for, which is what the government refers to it as. And that basically is like during that first 10,000 foot ascend and on the descend, that's when the potential for flames and bad things crashing to the ground, that's where most of that occurs statistically. So apparently they want to make sure that you're not listening to MP3s during an onboard fire plummeting to the ground. And so they have this goofy rule in place. Now the thing is, the only reason they have this rule in place is to keep you, they want to keep the row clear in the event of an emergency. And the row being that little thing with 3 seats to get into the aisle. They just want to keep that area clear so you don't have out all your shit. Okay, that's all that is, all it's there for. That's why you have to stow your tray tables and put your seats in their full upright position, because they want to make sure that you can jump out into the aisle and die of asphyxiation on your way to the exit before you're blown into a million pieces. But by the way, if you have a fear of flying, this is probably not going to be a real comfortable presentation. I have no problem with flying at all, so I enjoy it. And in a weird way, I'm always kind of hoping that maybe something would kind of happen to make it a little more. Anyone ever do that? Think a little bit more exciting, Like I'd like once to be able to say I did a wheels up foam landing or something like that, But that's just me. So let's talk about attacking. And again, please, okay? We're talking about things that are illegal, okay? And if you're going to do it, do it in the terminal, especially if there's long delays, because there is actually a lot more opportunity there. All right, here's the thing, okay? The contributing factors to this is you have laptops that have built-in Wi-Fi, okay? Many people here have that themselves, okay? Excellent Windows wireless integration, and I don't know how many road warrior type people we have here that travel a lot with the laptop. I mean, that's why I run Windows XP, okay? Because, I got good wireless integration. I mean, I'm this one guy. I'm the guy that always makes fun of Microsoft and stuff like that. But, holy shit, the Linux drivers, I have problems with those at times. The only thing I haven't had problem with is the Windows stuff. And I'm not just saying that because Andrew gave me the fucking shirt either, okay? That is the truth. That was in here before he gave me the shirt. By the way, I'm probably going to burn it, just so you know. But I am wearing it, okay? I am wearing it. I got to clear my conscience from this thing. But there's a lot of, it's just really easy to put all this stuff together. Now, the thing that's interesting, and you'll start to recognize this, anyone familiar with what link local addresses are? This is RFC 3927, and basically it's basically dynamic configuration of IPv4 addresses. Now, this occurs basically when DHCP, you can't reach a DHCP server, and what it does is you're assigned an address, and everyone's probably seen this address range, this particular class B. Yeah, auto IP. Yeah, it's the APIPA is what it is, and that's the bad boy with this. Now, it's on by default on the Windows platform on all interfaces, including a wireless interface if you have it. It's on by default. You can turn it off if you want. The thing with Microsoft, I'm talking specifically about XP. If you want to see this, I can actually give you this is kind of boring. You can find this, where to go find this stuff in there. Just poke around in the settings. Now, the thing is like when you couple some of these things together, things start to get kind of bad, okay? Now, if you want the details of Microsoft's implementation, their implementation is covered in Appendix A4 of that RFC. Now, here's what happens. Okay, now I'll give you a little more detailed thing later on, but user boots up a laptop. They have wireless enabled, and they don't have the Ethernet cable connected. There's a short timeout that occurs. Since wireless is enabled, it tries to find, its the main SSID it's used to finding. Okay, so it's kind of the default, and often, especially in older versions of Windows, it's just going to pick the last one that it connected up to successfully. It tries to find that SSID. Now, if it can't find it, and there's no DHCP servers at basically link locals, and the IP address is auto-assigned from this range. And then now here's the thing: is that if the laptop is connected up to an ad hoc network previously with that name, all of a sudden it'll start broadcasting that SSID, and this is why you go to the airport and you power up and you see all these things that say link sys and d-link, and all these other oddball things around you, and that is because the Windows client actually shovels that out. Okay, so we've covered that now, and the thing is, how does it do that? And it's basically more or less, I believe, it is a flaw they're going to patch again. But I mean, and you already can guess the workaround. You turn off your goddamn wireless. I mean, for God's sakes. Or you configure it not to attach to ad hoc. I mean, I'm kind of giving away the end of it. But I mean, the thing is, though, still, this is, you know, you need to do something to fix it. Now, what's really interesting is when you have a user that boots up laptop, and the first one up, because there's multiple users, okay, like at the airport, and I've seen this multiple times, where you have someone becomes the leader of the group, and then other laptops boot. And if anything, like say XP Gold or Windows 2000, they'll start. They'll connect up to this thing. In many cases, they'll go ahead and connect up to it. The other thing is interesting is that all the SSIDs that you've connected up to, those are thrown into the registry, so you can go back and look and see everything you've connected up to. So another thing to keep in mind is if you've ever connected up to an SSID and then someone else later on is advertising that as an ad hoc, you may, in fact, potentially auto-connect to that kind of thing. And this is the kind of the punchline of it, is that they cluster together in a convenient little group. So if you hop on, you know, you can have some fun if you so desire. And it's funny because when you see like multiple clusters of these things hopping together. Again, this is during really long delays at the airport and stuff like that. You're bored, you're watching this, and it is very entertaining. Now, the thing is that even in like the, RFC 3927, there are some warnings about using wireless LANs and whatnot when you implement this stuff. Okay, so it's like there's got to be some warnings in there. Okay, you got to. And so it basically says here, if you got wireless, you're going to have to be a little bit more diligent if you're going to implement this thing. So it occurred to me, well, I can get I'll go contact Microsoft and say, hey, you need to go read this this RFC. But they helped co-author the RFC. So I mean, it's like, well, okay, well, but the point is, they should have known. I know they've got more than one person working there, so it's not like. This guy here wrote the drivers and everything. I understand that, but nonetheless, this was kind of bad that it even happened. All right, so basically, this is how you go about doing an attack against this. Is you attach to that T-Mobile ad hoc, okay? And if you're Windows, you make sure that your alternate configuration is going to spit you out one of these addresses. Or you just, on Unix, you may have to manually assign it. You need to get the victim laptop IP address, and you can do there's various things you can do. You can do some ARP tricks. You can just sniff and just wait for, chatty stuff to come out that says, hey, I'm here, and then go for it that way. I recommend pinging it first, just to make sure you can get to it, even though you're sniffing it and seeing stuff. Make sure you do have full connectivity for it, and then use whatever is available on your laptop, and there you go. You're there. Now, and the thing is, see, you can do this on the plane. All right, you can do this on the plane. I don't know if that's come across to you. If that's some of it, you've probably hit some of you, because you realize the guy that's sitting there waiting for his flight that opened up his laptop, okay, and he starts working, and he's not a tech guy, okay, he's like in sales, or he's in marketing, or for some company that probably they sell shoes or whatever it is they do, and so he's not thinking, I need to protect my my wireless interface and make sure. He didn't know what an SSID is, okay? They don't know any of this stuff, and he's sitting there. He opens up his laptop, starts working. I'm sitting across from him, and I can see through visual reconnaissance. I have a Windows 2000 machine, and all of a sudden I've got this ad hoc network that appears called Linksys, and the guy can then closes his laptop. He goes over and gets on the plane. I'm sitting across from him, on the plane, fires up his laptop. I don't see him disable wireless, like according to the FAA he's supposed to. I don't see that happen. So I'll open up my laptop, and it's the same thing that's going on in the terminal. The guy's broadcasting an SSID mid-flight. Okay? So, anyway, keeping that in mind, here's some tips on attacking during short flight. Okay. Configure a DHCP server on your laptop. It speeds up the process. Okay. Okay, so that way, and the thing is, because you attach, you go ahead and let him come up, okay? Because according to the RFC, he's going to periodically recheck for a DHCP server, okay? Because basically the software is saying, hey, I need to find a real IP address. So just you hand him one, okay? And then of course the other stuff, and it's just it's just, everything's good except you're doing it quicker, okay? And we know like if you're on a short haul, okay, like an hour-long flight, come on, we got some boxes to compromise. We got to get moving here. Anyone familiar with the Karma tool? This was presented by Dino and K2, and I didn't even know. I didn't make it to CanSec West this past year, and so I didn't even know about this until about a week or so ago. I sent out my lame advisory to a few friends and stuff, and came back, and it's like Dino writes to me and says, "Hey man, look, we did this thing at CanSec West." So I kind of look at what Karma does, and I see you're on Karma on your laptop, and here's the really cool thing that Karma does, where you can kind of combine it, throw it into this thing, is basically what it does is every SSID. It said, oh, yeah, I'm that guy. Oh, you're looking for D-Link? Oh, yeah, I'm D-Link. Oh, you're looking for T-Mobile? Oh, yeah, I'm T-Mobile. And it answers every one of them, okay? So, and of course, it's got all these modules that you can, code up for it, so you can put together all kinds of things on there. But the main thing is that you're much more thorough, broader, much quicker coverage. If you seriously want to break the law on a short flight, you use this, okay? Because it's much quicker, much more thorough.
It's also got an entire suite of client app exploits.
Yes, yeah, and I was gonna cover that roughly in the next couple of slides. Obviously, when you're doing this kind of stuff, don't forget to sniff, okay? Because occasionally, if something's trying to phone home or talk to the corporate mail server, occasionally you'll get fun things like where cache credentials or whatever. This kind of ties in with the Karma thing, where you do the recount the laptop, PDA, whatever you have that's going to detect the stuff. Do that in the terminal while you're waiting for your flight. Pick the most popular SSID, and then set up a fake AP with that ID. And then, again, just resolve everything to you, and then all of a sudden you're getting hashes. And then you start adding other things to it, like and this is some of the stuff you can actually do with Karma, where you just say, okay, well, I'm gonna say, it's gonna say, oh, I need to talk to my because they bring up their mail client because they're gonna work on mail, and all of a sudden the thing you're answering say, yep, I'm your POP3 server. Yep, I accept that username. Yep, I'll take that password. The whole bit. So you're basically just you grab now, and the thing is you can and you can do that with Karma, which was the point that Toby was making there, is that there's modules that you can plug into to that. Some written, some waiting your Wonders handiwork to make it even more. And of course, I'm thinking, I'm on a plane. Again, this is more the idle hands thing. It's just like, what can I do to really have some fun? Okay, change the background image of the guy's computer. That's one. But there's even more things you can do, like, while he's, working on something, that's a little more fun. You like the backdoor thing there? Yeah, that's. This is my favorite. Launch some MP3s, and realize that just make it something really hard. Especially tie-wearing guy, and you got this, death metal coming out of his computer. That's just, that's great. That's wonderful. And then it's good to do that, like when he goes to the lavatory as best. He comes back and he's like, what the hell? What is this goddamn sound? Oh, it's my laptop. Oh, I was like, this would be just a fun one to do. Just I'm going to pop up some porn and a little voiceover. And then if you really want to be cruel, just wait for the bring that. cart down the aisle, something referencing the Mile High Club would be a... And look, like I said, I came from the travel industry. It really doesn't matter if it's a male or female guy coming down that aisle. That they're very open to that in the airline industry. So, of course, I always like you got to install a server so you can serve up prawn to the rest of the craft, but also. You upload your tools, you attack other machines, you attack your own machine, So that way if, when DHS, confiscates all the laptops on the plane, who knows? Who knows? Although odds are the guy in the black T-shirt is going to take the rap. That's just the way it goes. Anyway, I thought I'd give, that's kind of just I'm checking my time here. Oh, I'm doing really good on time. It made sense that if I'm going to go out and actually, kind of do this, I needed to actually have some real data to show you guys, and I'm not just, because this is all kind of just, it's one thing to talk the talk, but sometimes you have to step up and walk the walk, and that's why Jennifer's in the room right now. Okay, this is on a flight going to, let's see, I was going to Atlanta, I believe, in midweek. Okay, so you already set the scene. This is a large, regional city there. Lots of businesses. Got a lot of tech stuff going on in Atlanta. There was a weather delay, and this is actually where I really started having some fun with this for the first time. We sat on the tarmac at DFW, which is where I'm from, about a half a mile from the terminal. And that's when I, popped in, and they basically said, thunderstorm, you can't take off. We're shutting down the engines. If you want to get your computers and all that, go ahead. And so I did. I popped open my laptop and said, okay, well, let me see if I can reach the T-Mobile stuff at the airport, at the terminal. And I kind of doubted it, and I couldn't. But I could reach the guy next to me just fine. And just so you know, and also when I was doing the number of laptops out and running, what I would do is basically mid-flight, roughly the mid-flight point, I would do a quick visual survey, just go up and down the aisles. And funny enough, and some of my friends will attest that have flown with me, oftentimes I have my laptop out, walking up and down the aisle with Net Stumbler running, No one says anything, with me going, No one says anything, I guess they figure as long as I'm not threatening to crash the plane or anything like that, they could give a rat's ass, which is fine. Yeah. Anyway, there are 2 ad hoc networks on this particular flight. There are 3 live targets. 2 of them XP, 1 of them 2000. The XP was fully patched with firewalling, so probably Service Pack 2. Windows 2000, however, was vulnerable to the MSO 5039 flaw, and just so you know, yes, I did patch his box. So he's now no longer vulnerable, all right? I just happened to have, because, it was not too long after the patch came out, and so I still had a copy of the 2000 version on my laptop. So, I thought, I've popped the box, so the least I could do is plug the hole. Okay, that's the nice thing. I should have, for the benefit of over here, he asked if I left an invoice in his inbox. But no, I did not. But amazingly, and this is the other thing that's interesting about it, because obviously he didn't expect attack to occur, mid-flight. He just thought it was completely normal that his computer rebooted in the middle of him working on it. I'm on the aisle. He's 1 over, 1 up. I saw it happen, and he's like, whoa, and just, figured something went wrong. And, no offense, but, I mean, things do go wrong, and, shit'll, it'll reboot and stuff, so, Anyway, okay, Charlotte, North Carolina. Big banking insurance town. Again, weather delay. This is another, it's a wondrous environment there in Charlotte because they don't have wireless in the airport. So virtually everything that's non-web is actually an ad hoc network of some type. It's all laptops out there. And there are dozens of them, dozens of ad hoc networks wandering around the terminal. And again, oh, wonderful. That's not gay. That's not gay at all. What a gay ring. But if you're comfortable in your manhood with that, that's cool. All right. Anyway, 12 laptops out and running. And again, some of these people are doing business work. Some of them are watching movies, whatever it is that they're doing with their laptops. There were 5 ad hoc networks on this particular flight, 5 live targets, 2003, and the reason I know it's 2003 is because due to, again, visual reconnaissance on that one. And everything else was vulnerable either to the 017 or 039 bug. And I'm listing these because like 017, 039 have really nice, sweet little Metasploit bugs in them, and that was the main method of testing because that's what I happen to have on the laptop. All right, TourCon 7, return flight. This is Monday morning. I have no idea why, but I said, I'm going to take the 7 a.m. flight. So it's like, 6 fucking o'clock in the morning. And no one has their laptops out, okay, in the terminal. No one does. But 757, we got 22 laptops out and running. There's only one ad hoc network, and it's got this name, which I don't know why. And the thing that was weird about it is that 2 additional nodes is attached to it, and so I had 3 live targets. And so I have 2 XP at 2000. The one I mean, you got a D-Link technician, okay, running 2000. He's vulnerable, okay, and I can hear him talking, like he's talking to the flight attendant because he's, I mean, I'm not one to talk, being a little overweight myself, but he was your typical guy in a tie that didn't quite cover his belly, ducking like this because, I'm a traveling kind of guy and happening hip, and just all this stuff, talking this, line up to the flight attendant who could give a rat's ass about his existence once he exits the plane. But he mentioned that he was, a big-time guy at D-Link. And then the other one, the one that was really good was the guy right across the aisle from me, VP of a physical security company. It's just like, oh my God, you moron, you absolute moron. I know he's a VP because, he's like working on a presentation and he's putting his name in there and everything. So, okay, no problem. San Jose to Dallas Fort Worth, 5 laptops out, 3 ad hoc networks, 1 named Linksys, and then on the plane, 14 laptops out. There are 4 ad hoc networks. There were 4 names there. Now some of them, Golden Tree, I'm not sure of, Fly Aloha. Orange had web turned on, which I thought that was really nice of them. They're going to create an ad hoc network, but you're going to have to, they got web on there. And that to me, that just said, stay away. I'm taking security seriously. It was XP, and I just basically, again, is fingerprinted using visual reconnaissance. The other XP is fairly patched up, but they had 2 open shares, and one of them had prawn on it, so that was kind of nice. Nothing good, though. It was all like those, 10-second video clips and shit like that. I mean, I thought Feuder talking about, looking for porn, and, if it takes 5, he hopes he can get the porn in 5 minutes because that's how long he can last. I feel sorry for this guy's got the 10-second clips. You know what I'm saying? Need to send an email to his wife. Hey, I'm really sorry about that. But one of the Windows 2000 boxes actually had a web server running on it, which I thought was kind of funny. So he's serving up, believe it or not, fantasy football was what's on there. Typical guy in marketing, But this is the one that killed me, all right? I didn't even touch this fucker, all right? Tell me that I'm wrong. Okay. Okay. It just struck me as like, oh my God, that can't be who I think it is. Anyway, you want to know the best target locations? I'll go ahead and give them to you. Obviously, those like the Admirals Club and those kinds of things and everything. those are going to be your best places really to find a lot of stuff. And typically all you got to do is just connect up and then attack someone else. So that really doesn't count as far as this little goofy trick goes. But here's your best as far as just from my limited travels for my limited bit of research. This is non-scientific, but really Monday morning flights are usually the best. Anything like LaGuardia to here, Newark to Boston, Chicago to LA, those types of halls where you're going in and out of high-tech areas, those are actually really good candidates where you actually seem to have more laptops than usual. Get a seat near the front part of coach, okay, because all these road warriors are going to have the laptops. They're going to have them out while they're working on it. They get preferred seating due to their frequent flyer status and whatnot. So if they haven't gotten the upgrade into first class, they're right near the front of coach, and that's where and that's usually. Again, I travel a lot, so that's usually where I sit. And really, that's where you see all the power users, the guys that are all doing the work, are up there. And obviously, if you're all sitting together, then you can do better visual reconnaissance and whatnot. And it also puts you closer to first class because the road warriors on low-load flights, they'll get upgraded into first. It's interesting, though, is that if first is automatically, or if first is off limits for them because it's full, those guys, which may actually have more business clout and power and savvy or whatever, they don't get out their laptops because they don't have to. They're in first class. So it's mainly in coaches where all this fun occurs. And also, if you want to try to help influence this thing, obviously, if you own some, weather control satellites, you can create delays. And the more delays, the more they think, oh, I got to get out my laptop working on it now. I'm not going to have time at the hotel, before the meeting and all that. And again, like certain airports in this day and age, believe it or not, don't have any wireless. So you have that right there. A few conclusions here, why this happens. Your configuration talk to the infrastructure, that's not a problem. If you can't find your infrastructure Linksys or T-Mobile, you will attach to ad hoc versions of it. Okay? And from that point, from that point on, you will auto-assign an ad hoc network with that SSID. And think of it as a kind of a configuration virus, so to speak, that is currently operating in the wild. It spreads from laptop to laptop. And I've done some testing in a more controlled environment with a couple of laptops and actually duplicated this stuff and everything. I had to. Because I was reporting this to Microsoft, who actually was really good about all this stuff, even though, this is kind of lame, okay? It is kind of a lame little bug that it does. But nonetheless, they actually took it fairly seriously, and I was actually halfway impressed that they put as much effort as they did into something as pathetic as this. But nonetheless. Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. And actually, I would have said that without the, it actually was kind of comical in a way, because, on the one conference call that we had, there's like 12 guys from Redmond on the phone and everything. So it was they were and me, so it was kind of funny. All right. This is the thing. You can turn this stuff off. It doesn't apply just to planes, but just wherever people gather and they can't get online, where they don't automatically attach to something. Perhaps some of you here who have laptops that are now advertising an ad hoc network. Fortunately, I disabled my wireless before I got up here and did the presentation to prevent you assholes from doing exactly what I was talking about. What's good about this is there are very easy workarounds. Okay, obviously you turn it off if you're not using it. You can set your wireless to only talk to infrastructure networks. This is under advanced settings, and you have to drill down through a bunch of shit to get to it. But nonetheless, it is there. And this is actually the official Microsoft recommendation until they fix it in the next round of service packs. That's when it'll occur. If you have a personal firewall, obviously you want to turn that on because that'll prevent people from popping you. And then, you can always turn on WEP if you insist on having an ad hoc network at all time. And like I said, they're going to put that in there as well. And again, like it says there, they did seem to take it kind of seriously, so that's good. Other quick ways if you want to do reconnaissance, I just wanted to point these out. And this actually, if I don't think we have any airline representatives here, do we? Or anyone willing to admit it? That someone that works at an airline that's actually here for that reason? Okay, no one. Or at least they're not admitting it. You can give all the flight attendants these like digital hot spotters, or the Wi-Fi finder is nice because it does Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so you can find everyone that's got the shit that's turned on that you don't want turned on. Now the future, and this is kind of the stuff that's kind of coming up, and this is basically the FCC is saying that cell phones and Wi-Fi on planes, that technology they believe is ready to be used for planes. The FAA hasn't approved it, and there's actually a study going on that's going to conclude in 2006. Without a push from the airlines, the FAA is unlikely to actually move on it. Now, American, United, and Delta, they were ready to push at least for a cell-based, this picocell-based, and a picocell is like a little kind of repeater type thing that's on a plane that they were going to put on a plane. It's about the size of a smoke detector. And they were talking about putting this in, and they're talking about in 2001 they're going to put this, and I'm, in a way it's kind of a mixed blessing. Do you really want an annoying loud guy on a cell phone next to you on a plane? And he's talking loud because he's got to talk over the screaming kid in the seat behind him. Okay, do you really want to hear that kind of crap on a plane? That's the main reason why the Flight Attendants Union is against this, because they say it'll create more, there'll be like a, cell phone rage and shit like that, and, bad things happen, planes crash and whatnot as a result of that, I guess. And I would think that cell phone is going to, anyway, those three airlines, they killed their projects after 9/11 happened, and what little money they were making, it was quickly gone. And the cost is about a fifth to implement cell phone usage on planes as opposed to Wi-Fi. But I think Wi-Fi will follow. I would prefer, obviously, Wi-Fi to go first, or to get implemented first. Now, here's the thing that's interesting is some of the things that both DHS and DOJ, and you can Google for this kind of stuff and read up on it. They want to ban cell phone Wi-Fi type stuff on planes. They want that to remain in effect as well, because they're afraid of, like, the terrorists in the back of the plane, calling the terrorists in first class saying, go, and then they, in spite of, instead of them yelling it, because that's apparently inefficient, I mean, my God, they could bring on fucking walkie-talkies. I mean, Jesus Christ, if they really needed to coordinate like that. But nonetheless, I mean, or, like air to ground, or coordinate between aircraft and that kind of thing. So they're against it. Now, they want also, and Jennifer may find this kind of interesting too, and in light of all this talk on monitoring and stuff that she's been going on about, is that the request from DHS is, if it's put in there, they want the ability to monitor everything coming out of that aircraft and going in. So they want to be able to monitor every bit of that. So they want all the back doors and stuff put in. Of course, that's going to drive the cost up even more, which is going to prevent the airlines from wanting to do it. Right now, what you do have, there is broadband available on some flights. These are typically on, these are non-U.S. carriers. For the most part, the ones where I've actually seen it, even though a lot of times they're not doing it over, they're doing it only on long hauls. They're not doing it on short flights, but that's changing. Now, what they usually have is it'll be like a private Class C for passengers. So you got like an entire Class C. And they use a combination of various satellites, and they've got like different ground locations that they move the packets to and from. And usually what they do is they'll say $30, unlimited use for the entire flight. And that's on like a 6+ hour flight. Cheaper on shorter flights is typically. Pardon? Oh, what was it about the power outlet? Yeah, the seats are going to have power outlets and stuff like that. Yeah, it's, and a lot of them do now as well. And that's another reason why, again, like when I mentioned like sitting in the front part of coach, like say American, for example, which is mainly what I fly on, they bought TWA, all those MD, they got all these MD-80s as a result. Most of the TWA MD-80s only had power in like the first, 10 rows of coach, and so that was that's another reason why you have all the power users and road warriors. They always, that's for them up there, and then they're slowly getting that implemented on all planes. Here are the three vendors that are currently offering at least some type of electronic communications from planes, and here's some airlines that actually are doing some of this. So if you have a chance to fly any of these airlines, and you want to do some hacking, then there you go. Take a look at these things. Some of the issues with this. It's extremely expensive to implement. It's come down a bit. They're saying now around $400K per plane. It was at $500,000 per plane to put this stuff in. Obviously, the U.S.-based airlines aren't making nearly enough money to afford to implement this. Believe it or not, I actually did speak with the guy that was like their technical security guy. By chance, I happened to run into him, and he told me that there's little or no security implemented on these things. They're not watching anything. They're not keeping track of anything, because that part, those modules for the airlines were extra, and the airlines didn't want to pay for it. Okay. Now the thing is like there's and also their lawyers, and this is the main reason why it probably hadn't happened here in the U.S., or another big reason why we're not having this in the U.S. implemented, is that their lawyers are extremely frightened over the legality of in-flight hacking, either air-to-air, like you're popping someone else in another seat, or it's air-to-ground. And the reason they're doing it is because, you're in one seat, your victim's in another seat, you attack them over international waters. What jurisdiction applies? Okay? Can they come after you? Like I asked Jennifer, I said, well, they can come after me civilly. And she goes, what, in the made-up, international waters civil laws? No, there's nothing there. There's nothing, no precedents, nothing. Now, in a way, I think, for me, I thought that it might be like if I took off in the United States, I'm not in Bangalore until I clear customs in Bangalore, technically. So one would think, and most of the FAA type rules for, like, if you're being a stupid passenger and being disruptive, the FAA rules will apply to you, even though you're halfway across the planet at that point. So I would think that would apply, but who knows? But the thing is to keep in mind, the part where it gets gray with this is that, the cruise ship, the whole thing, where you're on the cruise ship, it goes into international waters, and then the casino opens. And the casino closes, and then they come back in closer to shore. So that's the kind of legal ambiguity that may actually apply to that. And that last question there in the end, that's just more of a rhetorical question. I don't expect anyone to have an answer until it's played out in a court somewhere. Here's some other additional infos. Believe it or not, on a lot of Boeing aircraft, they're using a Windows CE 2003. And this probably will make you feel really comfortable if you're on a Boeing aircraft on your flight home, is that they're in the process of disabling the enabled Bluetooth on those computer systems. They're not done yet, but they're in the process of disabling it. At least they're doing that. And yeah, Windows CE, okay? I mean, and this is the thing. This is, I don't know about I don't have really any proof on this, but the rumor is that there is a back door in some of this stuff so that ground personnel can land a hijacked plane via either the two competing technologies for, I don't know how many people are aware that a lot of large planes have they either have auto-land or robo-lander, and these are things that allow, let's say you're on a DC-10, you're coming into a real fogged airport. They turn on auto-land, and the computer will land the plane. And that's how, you're looking out the window saying, how can they land in this fog? That's how they're doing it. They're using what's called auto-land. And that technology, they've had that for 15 fucking years. So that's been around for quite a while. But my thing is like, imagine, just saying, please adjust your altitude to -2,000, while flying over this mountain range, and then do it at 15 minutes after you take off. I mean, that would be kind of a bad thing. And again, hopefully that doesn't make you nervous about flying home, but there you have it. That's pretty much the end of the talk proper. Although I do want to take questions, and Adam, you had. Where are they plugging in the Windows CE machines? I'm not 100% sure. Part of it has to do with navigation, some of the navigation systems. There's also an effort within the airline to try to use more off-the-shelf parts because it's more cost-effective. So there's kind of a move in that direction. I mean, why do all this engineering of some massive embedded system thing with all this knick-knack and doodads when you just basically take an existing operating system that seems to work reasonably well and go ahead and throw that on there. And that's I believe the line of thinking. Truthfully, I thought it was nuts, but there you have it. Any other questions? Yes.
Somebody's using like a Linksys or Intel utility to manage their wireless connections. Are their computers still vulnerable to this, or do you know which ones leave it vulnerable to this?
You're asking specifically if they're using a Linksys or.
They have little utilities that come with the car where you can manage what you connect. Does that fix this problem or not?
I don't know specifically about some of those utilities. I do know, like for example, on my laptop, if I use, because it's got Intel, Intel Pro Set, Wi-Fi stuff on there. If I use the Intel provided tool, I don't beacon. Okay. If I use the Windows client, I do beacon. So and I've had other laptops that I haven't had a chance to play with extensively. But some of the either the vendor provided or usually the card vendor provided utilities don't seem to have this flaw. Now that may not be the case if they're just hooking right in and using the Redmond APIs to do whatever it is they're trying to do. Then they could very well have the same problem. And I also suspect, like I haven't done thorough testing yet, but I just figured out that I believe my PDA does the exact same thing, and it's running Palm OS. So, I mean, I only looked at Windows, folks. This really could actually affect other platforms. Yes?
You're saying that if the last AP you're associated with using broadcast web?
No. The question was if the last AP that you associated with uses web, you had broadcast web. No. Basically, it comes up of, it seems to go off of the name is what it does. Now, if you set it up for it to be web, it will be web, when you broadcast. But you have to go and specifically set it up. That's why I found it interesting someone had set up an ad hoc network, on their laptop and turned web on. I mean, obviously they were doing something else with it, and they gave it a generic name of Orange or that was kind of an oddball thing. But no, web, you won't automatically provide a secure method for someone to attach and attack your system. Yeah. I never got any weird looks from anybody on any flight doing any of this stuff. And I'm talking, like I said, walking up and down the aisle with the laptop open, running NetStumbler, doing this stuff with it on large, trying to triangulate, Yeah, there's some people here that have been with me on planes and have seen me actually doing that, and just, huh? My flight going home, the plan, now see, that's the thing. That's the reason why the description of the talk wasn't online. Okay, the plan was for me to get here. I'm prepared to drive home if I have to. Yeah, they'll be looking for Simple Nomad. I should be okay, Fortunately, I didn't, go completely, hacker bananas and decide to change my name legally to Simple Nomad. So, but, do what now? Yeah.
So do you know if it actually changes the mode of the client software so that it's no longer in like structure mode, it's now ad hoc mode, or does it just beacon out IPSS
Basically it's going out as ad hoc mode. It just says I'm going to start broadcasting ad hoc mode.
In
Yeah.
other words, is there a visual indication in Windows that the mode is changing from infrastructure to ad hoc?
There is no visual indication at all whether you're ad hoc or infrastructure when you're when it does the switching on this. Yes, over here. His comment was that this was basically designed to make things easier. For you take the laptop somewhere, it just works, and that's his comment. And that's considering how much thought they put into making this thing as connectable as possible. I'd say that has a massive ring of truth. I think we're about done, and so I want to thank you for your time. Appreciate you staying around for the questions. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Physical copy now. But I will. But what I will do is I will make sure that I get. Oh, Brian Catch, yes, yes.